It's rough, it's tough. I cannot eat, I cannot drink, I cannot sleep.
A homeowner spends decades paying off his mortgage only to suddenly find out his home has been sold in an auction without his knowledge. So how could this happen?
This is the book of Isaiah 65 and verse 14, and it reads, Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. Like start over giving all great honor to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Rakakadash. The one that teaches others in the voice of great millstone, like wise brothers, but know this truth. Faithfully, fairly see, feeding sheep and two brothers and sisters. Tuning in, Shalom. Today's lesson's titled Vexation of Spirit. Get used to it. Now, you saw in that opening clip, which is going to be the primary media for this lesson today concerning this Jake who lost his house. And I'm going to show you the rest of the clip, and how this actually came about. But this is something that's actually taking place all across Great Babylon, America right now. And this is really heavily impacting the children of Israel, so-called blacks and the Americans and Latinos, because what they don't understand is how the system of Great Babylon, America is set up, to strong arm the poor, to persecute the poor, to oppress the poor, and basically there is no help coming from the authority that Jakes have come to trust in. In fact, let's take a look at that word, vexation, before we go further into this video. And it means the state of being annoyed, frustrated, or worried. Similar words as annoyance, irritation, irritability, exasperation, anger, rage. Something that causes annoyance, frustration, or worry. And what you see going on right now is, you have food insecurities, housing insecurities. Right now you have, Jakes right now have freedom insecurities as these troops massing around these cities, all with the intention or from the order of their king, the cruel Lord Trump, to take them off the streets or to their homes and put them in these internment camps. So I'm going to play the rest of this video, and then we're going to be going into the scripture. Take a look at it.
It's a 7 on your side investigation. And good evening to you. At 6 o'clock, I'm Liz Cho. Bill is off tonight. We are going to begin with that stunning story of a man fighting to keep his home. He worked for 22 years to pay off the mortgage on his home in Brooklyn, only to find out that it was auctioned off. He had been paying his water bill, but it turns out there was an old bill he never knew about. But the city sold the debt to a private investor who then sold his $800,000 home at an auction. And thousands of New Yorkers could be at risk of the very same thing. Investigative reporter Dan Krauth is here now with the exclusive report. Dan.
Liz, the city takes action against people who don't pay their property taxes or water bills. It is leading to people losing their homes. In this case, it's for a bill that was worth less than 1% of the value of his home. In the middle of the night, this is what the Brown family in Brooklyn woke up to. Strangers using power tools to try to get into their home, only to find later those strangers had a legal right to be there.
I don't want anybody to go through what I'm going through. It's more than I can bear.
Fillmore Brown bought his home back in 1996, worked 7 days a week for more than 2 decades to pay it off, only to learn it was sold out from under him.
It's rough, it's tough. I cannot eat, I cannot drink, I cannot sleep. I cannot stay at the house.
That was your American dream.
That was my dream, only dream.
Back in 2019, Brown had just finished paying off the mortgage, but says he didn't know he had an unpaid water bill for $5,000. Did you know that you had an outstanding water bill?
No. If I didn't know, I would pay just as I paid the balance.
Here's what happens in New York City with larger unpaid water and tax bills. The city sells the unpaid bills to what's called a trust, which is a group of investors. It's then up to those investors to collect the money with interest. If the balance isn't paid, the home can go into foreclosure and be bought at auction. That's what happened to Mr. Brown.
It's stolen from me, and I need it back.
The city says they sent numerous notices warning him of a pending lien, notices Mr. Brown says he did not receive. Court documents then show the investor served someone at his home with papers in November of 2020 during the height of the pandemic that they were foreclosing. Mr. Brown claims he didn't get it.
I would pay it with no problem.
He lives on the top floor of his home and rents out the lower 2 units to other families.
He said he didn't know anything about this, and I believe him.
The attorneys working on his case say he has paid thousands of dollars in taxes and water bills since then.
He just paid a water bill this year, you know, in the thousands of dollars. So it's just heart-wrenching.
She says once his old bill was put into trust, it did not show up on his current bills. The two payment systems aren't connected.
There needs to be some notification that there's another bill out there to be paid.
The city's Department of Finance responded with a statement that reads in part, "Our goal is never to see a homeowner lose their property. Last year, we implemented reforms to specifically prevent unfortunate situations like this from happening by giving property owners more time, information, and resources to resolve their debts." As for Mr. Brown, his attorney's now trying to get a judge to pause the case so she can explain to the court what happened. Do you have hope?
Yeah, I have hopes. If I didn't have hopes, I wouldn't be here today.
We will be following his case, and he's not alone. Just this year, more than 6,800 people had their water liens put into a trust for not paying their water bills. Our ABC data team found a majority of them live in minority neighborhoods. And Liz, some city council members are taking action. They're holding a rally outside of his home tomorrow. They want a public hearing to investigate what went wrong and a new bill passed to try to prevent something like this from happening again.
That is exactly what needs to happen, because I think the most diligent homeowner wouldn't even know to ask questions or go searching for something like that if they're never notified.
Once it's put in that trust, it's deducted from the account. So you can have a zero balance, but still have a lien from the trust and not know about it if you're not looking or paying attention to your bills closely.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes.
This is Isaiah 31. And 1, it reads, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because there are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither see the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai." Now, I'm not going to front. Each and every one of us, we were caught up in this situation, a while back before we understand the intentions of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, which is to bring judgment on the wicked here in Great Babylon, America, particularly our 2/3, and even us who are hopefully, like of Yasharal, are going to go, through the fire of adversity. You would feel some way. I mean, this man, he paid his house off, he worked 2 jobs, only at the end to find out that for $5,000 in comparison to the $800,000 his home was worth, they have auctioned off his house for pennies to the dollar, okay? And now you can look at him and see that he's a mature man that, doesn't have any residual energy left to go and start all over. But this is the case of that vexation that's taking place here in Great Babylon, America. It's taken a hold of our people. And the only people that's going to be able to go through this adversity, this fire of adversity, dealing with the unfair practices of this devil, are going to be the ones who understand how this devil operates, okay? And also what we were told that's going to be given to us in the future, okay, in another life, basically, when we get all these sinful bodies and gain immortality and come back, when the heavenly kingdom is being set up. Okay, this is Micah 2:10. It reads, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with soul destruction." You cannot, okay, get caught up. And this is what's going on with Jake's. They did. They're caught up in what Great Babylon, America used to be maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They're still reminiscent of the old days of when help was there, when things was fair, when you were treated with equality, somewhat to speak. You had a little bit of rights. Jake is trying to gravitate onto something that's really not there. They're not seeing that these people, they don't care. MAGA is make America white again. Okay, they want to go back to the old days when we were in chains and they could, drive by and grab you up, throw you in the back of a pickup truck and drive off in the middle of nowhere and hang you from trees. And you're seeing this hatred now coming towards us, and it's written in the scripture, and there's don't seem to be a reality check to the Lord of Hebrew Israelite. But to us, the hopefully elect, we have a reality check. They're brothers. You have family, you have kids, you have possessions. But in the back of your mind, you know that at some point in time, it's gonna have to go. One way or the other, you're gonna leave these clay model houses that you live in, and even this body that we're in, to have that majestic body okay, and watch if you're part of the hopefully elect from the chariot, okay, as great Babylon America is destroyed. And no matter how good your house is, it's going to be destroyed. America is going to be destroyed. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 16 and stand verse 37. And it reads, Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth. Great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth. They slack not a moment. So this is in reference to like a woman having, giving birth. It's painful, man. It's painful. And what we have right now is the birth pangs. Okay, first you have the death of the so-called white man rulership. Okay, and the birth of a new heavenly, okay, rulership. Of righteousness. Okay, just. Okay, that's coming. But before that happens, okay, because a baby is a beautiful thing when it's born, it comes out crying, it's beautiful, it's life. But before that, there has to be pain. And it says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So this is going to be a global thing, but of course we always focus specifically on Jacob's trouble, which is the 12 tribes of Israel. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be us pilgrims upon the earth. I make it very clear in my household, be prepared to leave. Be prepared to escape. Okay? Be prepared to bounce. Okay, and I can go on and on and on how many different ways I say it. Okay? So while you could enjoy what you have, don't get attached to it. Okay, and this is the problem with a lot of people, is that they're not ready to give up. They're not ready to give it up. They're not ready to give up their life here in Great Babylon, America, which is why they hate hearing what we say, because we're speaking the truth of what is going to happen, whether you want it to happen or not. It has to happen. Okay? Even the 2/3, you're going to be in the heavenly kingdom. You're going to be immortal, whether you want to or not. You are going to be it, because you're a Hebrew Israelite. Okay? It says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupied merchandise as he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he should not reap, and so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. So it's telling you right now, when you look in the headlines right now, you can see fairness is out of the window. Okay, your rights is out of the window. They're coming to confiscate your things, confiscate your freedom, okay, and maybe even confiscate your life. Either way, right now we are at the beginning, okay, of Jacob's trouble, which is the 12 tribe of Israel. Okay, let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 17, because this Jake, he's surprised of what's going on. Of course, he gets a lawyer and he's going to try to fight it. Which is in his rights, but we understand that we're in a time right now where having a lawyer right now is because they haven't enacted their diabolical plan to its fullness yet. Okay, it says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. All these hidden laws there, the fact that let's say you have a house and you paid off the house, you have full 100% equity into the house. Okay, you still have something called property tax, even with your cars. Okay, but let's talk about a house. You have something called property tax. You don't pay, okay, that property tax. That city or the town put a lien on your property. Okay, which means that they can now turn around and sell you a doggone property. Okay. So it's kind of weird like that, how these things are set up. But you have organizations or investment groups out there that are trolling around looking, okay, for this type of thing. Okay, looking for this. And they're looking for people who are behind in payments or whatever the case is, so they can go take their property, especially if it's paid off. And that's, if your property's paid off, you're more of a bigger target compared to someone that still owes hundreds of thousands of dollars on it, because they don't stand to really gain anything, especially if the property is not really that good to begin with. Okay, let's close with the book of 2nd Ezra 16 That's our 70, because we understand this, and it's already been written. This is going to happen. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses." Many different ways that can be done. You don't pay your mortgage, you get cast out of your houses. You don't pay your taxes, you get cast out of your house. You didn't pay your water bill like this guy did. He didn't know about the bill. And they basically, confiscate his property, change his lock in the middle of the night. He's got it on camera, you saw it. Okay, and now he has to go to court and go spend tens of thousands of dollars to probably get back what was his, if he can get it back. But at some point in time, none of that is going to matter whether you could afford to pay for anything or not. You'll have the rage of the red man coming upon the children of Israel. Okay, and that is a decree that's written inside the Bible. Okay, it's part of the prophecies, and it's the will of the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai that there's going to be persecution on the children of Israel, known as Jacob's trouble. But he's going to deliver 1/3 of us, and that's the end of that, Jake. So it has been what, vexation of spirit, and get used to it. Lord willing, the elect was Father, close by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Shemel Shai Bashem Rakakadash Shalom.